Okay, so our journey on the Conservative Victory Tour has taken us through so much. And when I do a broadcast, I do blurbs, and I know that this has become so surreal for so many of us who have been to the events, who've seen history unfold, and I don't know any other way to first. I personally think Dinesh D'Souza, mhm, for bringing to light something that is so relevant and important to every one of us. First of all, our dad was incarcerated in 1985. And some might have maybe argued about politics. And early on, there were some questions my dad posed to me that brought us to where we're at. And I believe that, yeah, politics plays a big part in decisions that are made in court. So it's no question in my mind that when I talked to Dinesh D'Souza on the phone in Springfield, Missouri, when he was being interviewed by a local, well, at that time, I'm pretty sure it was a national host, and I'm, I'm come to the point that through this whole thing, that the last couple months, especially walking in the field and seeing the first images of the trailer Death of a Nation, how this is impacting our lives personally. So I'm pretty sure by the time the movie gets out, and some of us who got to see some of the movies that came out, well, one of them was, of course, the very powerful movie, the first movie that he made, and we were out in Missouri, and I went out to Nixa, Missouri, to see that movie. So I know that this is big, what we've, what we're witnessing. I mean, no, I do not consider myself somebody very political at all. I consider myself somebody on the same journey that a lot of us are on, and we're trying to better understand what has happened in America since 9/11. Who, many of us who grew up before 9/11, America's relatively, I don't know that we were better, safer. I don't think we were aware to the extent how dangerous the war in Iraq, the danger we faced as a country. And I had dreams in 2003 during the beginning of the shock and awe war, and I would have severe night terrors, and some of them were very vivid. And I shared something. I'm learning to speak again about it, because I have to learn to bring right words to it. So when you have dreams or experiences like what we've experienced, when I think about the first time I was really watching the news, my brother called me in the morning of 9/11, and I was just dumbfounded by what was going on TV. And many of us who sat back and watched the towers fall that morning, I don't know that, I mean, I just have to think of myself as where we were at 9/11. Because I don't know that we know much more than I can assume we know some things, and then I think it all gets back to where we were the morning of 9/11 in that phone call that we got. Many of us have had moments where we got that phone call, or maybe waited by the door wondering what the answer is to this and what are the concerns we have. I know all of you who probably may be more politically in the know, I don't know that any of us were that prepared for an attack like that on 9/11, much less some of the other attacks we've experienced since then. And I can almost guarantee that most of us who look back and think how America was and how it is now, it's still, to me, the same America, but America is back, and the indicator will be will not just be the weather, but it'll be the gas prices going down. Because I remember that morning it was $1.35, and I'm pretty sure all of us who've experienced whatever it is we've experienced in this, we know that we know that a lot has happened since then, and where we're at now and where we're going is to be determined. And to me, it all goes back to where were you in the morning of 9/11, and I hope that all of us can use that as our pivot point, because I don't know that any of us, even years ago when I always, there were indicators everywhere that things were changing rapidly, but now it is obvious when you start to see the blood moons and you start to see eclipses. Like, now it's become pretty common. I was in Missouri when the Bethlehem Star was, that's the first time the Bethlehem Star had been seen since the time of Jesus' birth. So this is a prophetic, for some of you who study the Bible and study eschatology, and you're following like Mark Blitz, who first was the one that came up with the tetrads, and we were following Comet Ison, and a lot of us who were following like Thor News and all the topics on this, and continue to do that even now. It's a fascinating time for a lot of reasons. So I think that hopefully all of us who continue to watch these blog posts and pay attention to the news stories, hopefully whatever the movie's about, yeah, looking forward to seeing it and looking forward to knowing what's going to be ahead. But wow, it's been a really fascinating experience. We've all been through a lot. We've all experienced a lot. And we've all experienced a lot of challenges personally. So, there's moments in all this, I think, when I went down to Shanksville, and I first went down there and I went to the actual ceremony that morning. I had got to know Father Alphonse, who was running, started Flight 93 Chapel. And to go down there and to know he passed away, I've been pretty choked up for a while. I haven't been myself much. Because he was a big part of why I even did the started blogging. And I've had difficulties with a lot of things through this, so there's been challenges in this that I have to put aside, and I had to decide if this is really what I wanted to do. And there have been several moments in this that whether if I should continue blogging or even doing a news post like this. So to me, there's a lot of challenges I've been presented with that I didn't know were so difficult. So I have a tendency kind of, become more cautious over time, and I guess there's a lot that needs to be said about some of the things we've been through. And personally, I just saddened that it's become so hyped up in the news, because I think a lot of it was stirred up. To me, the topic on slavery is a difficult topic because it's of course, it's part of our history, number one. I always found, especially since 5th grade, when I was told the story about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, and how important it was to free the slaves. And now with this news post and what I'm doing right now and trying to keep up with, like, recently the current events, and of course the story of Rosa Parks, who challenged a lot of people by fighting back instead of sitting on the back of the bus. Now, today, we see that change has happened, but I don't know that was just there have been many battles fought. So what even makes me more fascinated about this is that, and it's not, who knows, things don't always happen by accident, but I was just down in Kentucky and I got to see Mary Todd's house, and now with the movie that's coming out with Dinesh D'Souza, I look forward to seeing what's going to happen. I hope whatever journey we are on, especially conservative victories and the news stories with liberal media and some of the things, because we've been following the conservative victory for really since the time we started blogging, and I like to think of myself as somebody independent, but I do follow a lot of the rallies, and that's how we started the Pittsburgh for Trump, because I just figured at this point, now that we've been kind of following it, we got to get Pittsburgh back, number one. We got to see opportunity for Pittsburgh, for the average person that doesn't make that much money still. A lot of us are disabled, or limited with our ability to do things, so we've been put through a lot by a lot of people too, and that's one of the biggest handicaps we've had. So instead, we've been focusing our energy on athletics and sports and activities and kind of getting back to what it's really about. And I originally had gone up to Valant when I came back here to Pittsburgh, and I had always wanted to try to start a bed and breakfast or an antique shop. And while we might not have the actual antique shop and things that I wanted to do, I'm hoping we still stay with some of the things we've been doing. So, but we have great ideas, and I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew. I know that is not always work for me. It's just when a lot of things changed when Jordan was in that car accident, mostly, and it's made us sit back and try to recover and sort through a lot of things. So, and I think about the kids right now, and I'm considering a lot of the things that are going on to me matter a lot. You know, our family, the risk we took coming home. Not sure why we struggled the way we had to, but for whatever reasons, we survived it. And I mean, things are getting back to some kind of normal again. So, saddened that we went through all this. It's, of course, naturally. But we've gained a lot in the process. So, even while there's suffering and difficulties, and we've confronted some struggles in our life, and especially we still do, it's still, to me, the country we're passing down to the kids. It seems like sometimes things are come to an end, but I don't know that we know that for sure. I think we know that going forward that there are going to be some challenges, and how it works out, to me, that's when you just have faith and trust God, and that's it. I mean, it's just doing what we have to do to keep food on the table, to keep to hold a schedule, and just do the basic things that we do before. You know, just, I mean, it's true. I mean, there's a lot we've been through, so. But I needed a blog about that, because I've had this experience, and I did talk to Dinesh D'Souza when I was on I called into a talk show in Springfield, like I said, and to see this happening, like, this is really amazing. This is really amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, we were just in Kentucky, and by the time I got down to Kentucky, I realized I was standing in front of Mary Todd's house and Abraham Lincoln's wife, and I was like, wow, it is pretty wild. So, I want to end this blog post, but just thank you for the few minutes I've given me, a few minutes to share my thoughts on some things. But I'm looking forward to seeing Dinesh D'Souza's new movie, The Death of a Nation, and hopefully we'll be be following more as an election will be coming up here soon. Thank you for listening to this blog post here at the Field Report.